All right, let's go through the last section of Chapter 2, Proving Angle Pair Relationships. I have one theorem right off the bat. It's Theorem 2.3, Right Angle Congruence Theorem. All right angles are congruent. Yep, that's it. Right Angle Congruent Theorem says that all right angles are congruent. All right, let's write a proof. Okay, given, oh, that is terrible. Let's fix that. Segment AB is perpendicular to segment BC. Segment DC is perpendicular to segment BC. Let's prove that angle B is congruent to angle C. Okay? So let's look at this. I have some statements here. First of all, we have to write down our givens. So I have segment AB is perpendicular to segment BC. And segment DC is perpendicular to segment BC. Okay, my reasons are, yes, those are all given. That's an E. All right, what else do we know? We know that angle B and angle C are right angles because of the definition of perpendicular angles. Sorry, perpendicular lines. Erase. Let's get a video with absolutely no mistakes. Wouldn't that be awesome? Okay, the last step. Now we know that angle B is congruent to angle C because of the right angle congruence theorem. And that's it. Next theorem, Theorem 2.4, Congruent Supplements Theorem. It says that if two angles are supplementary to the same angle, or two congruent angles, then they are congruent. If angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary, and angle 3 and angle 2 are supplementary, then, angle 1, I'm going to scribble something out, that is a mistake, then angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Okay? That's congruent. Let's draw you a picture. Okay, let's say this is angle 2. I'll try to make it visually correct. Angle 1, let's draw one congruent. Angle 3. Alright, now let's talk through it. If angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary, and angle 3 and angle 2 are supplementary, then angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. It's almost like the transitive properties that we learned in the last sections, but not quite. If that helps you to remember it, that's great. Theorem 2.5, I'm correcting all these errors. 2.5, Congruent Complements Theorem. If two angles are complementary to the same angle, or to congruent angles, then they are congruent. If angle 4 and angle 5 are complementary, and angle 6 and angle 5 are complementary, then angle 4 is congruent to angle 6. Okay, let's draw a picture. Let's see if I can draw it. We'll make that angle 5. We'll try to make angle 4 look complementary. And then angle 6 we'll put over here. Alright, so if angle 4 and 5 are complementary, and angle 6 and angle 5 are complementary, then angle 4 is congruent to angle 6. Cool. Let's prove a case of congruent supplements theorem. Okay? Prove that two angles supplementary to the same angle are congruent. It's given that angle 1 and angle 2 are supplements, Angle 3 and angle 2 are supplements. We need to prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Alright, let's get to it. So let's write down what's given. Angle 1 and angle 2 are supplements. Angle 3 and angle 2 are supplements. And that is all given. Alright, what else do we know? We know that when you have two angles that are supplementary, you can add the measure of one and the measure of the other, and you're going to get 180 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 and the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. The measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. And that is the definition of supplementary angles. Okay, the definition of supplementary angles. I think I'm going to have to continue on the next page. Alright, moving on. I know that, okay, the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 2. And that's that transitive property of equality. Sometimes I really want to say that that's substitution, but it's really the transitive property. That's a 3. Okay, so now we can, in essence, I'll write it in red. That's really what we're doing here. We're going to say that the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 3 because of the subtraction. I subtracted the measure of angle 2 from both sides. Subtraction property of equality. And now you can say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Definition of congruent angles. And we're done. Good job. Alright, you try. How many steps do you save in the proof in example 1 by using the right angles congruent theorem? Example 1 was the one that looked like this. A, B, C, D. Okay. How many steps do you save in the proof in example 1 by using the right angle congruent theorem? Really, let me talk through that. Okay, if you look back at example 1, we had 3 steps. If I didn't know the right angle congruence theorem, I would have to do more steps. This is going to take a bit of time, but hopefully it'll make sense. Angle 1 and angle 2 are right angles. Oops, right angles. And that's given. You know the measure of angle 1 is 90, and the measure of angle 2 is 90. Definition of a right angle. I didn't write that down, but we're talking through it. So that's the definition of a right angle. 3, you get the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 2, and that's the transitive property. 4, angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Sorry, angle 2. And that's the definition of congruent angles. So the first time we went through this, we had 3 steps. This time we have 4 steps. So we are saving 1 step. Yay. Draw a diagram and write given and prove statements for a proof of each case of the congruent complements theorem. Okay, I'm going to do this one with you, so go ahead and turn the page. Write this example down, but it says draw a diagram and write given and prove statements for a proof of each case of the congruent complements theorem. Okay, so here's our diagram. I would have never expected you to come up with that on your own. So we need to write a proof for this diagram. We're proving each case of the congruent complements theorem. So let's look at it. Okay, if we look at the congruent complements theorem that you wrote down, we knew that two angles are complementary and two other angles are complementary. So we can say that given angles 1 and 3 are complements, angles 3 and 5 are complements. So we need to prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. So let's write it. Okay, step 1, angle 1 and angle 3 are complements. I can't spell today. Okay, and that reason is given. Angle 3 and angle 5 are also complements. And that is given. Let's see, we know that angle 1 is congruent to angle 5, congruent, complement, theorem. That would be number 3. And that's it, really. Okay, we're just going through an exercise. Good, you try. Break time. I'm going to push pause and upload this, but you still have to watch both of them. Good work.